Cheri, don't you see that throughout the Bible? The people that God calls, he doesn't call the qualified. He calls you and then he qualifies you. And I love that. And you're living that out. You know what I mean? That's amazing. Who's had the greatest impact on you professionally? And then let's just go ahead and weave in the other question is, and what's a company you admire and why? So impacted you professionally and then a company that you admire.
So the person that has impacted me the most professionally, her name's Kai Mitchell. And that's a person whose life I would love to have. And I'm hoping that I can. She's a godly woman who is an executive and she's sold a staffing agency. She's COO billion-dollar company. Like she's done all kinds of stuff. And the thing is, she's never really mentored me on business. It's all been personal in my relationship with God. And just, it makes me a little emotional. And because I really want to, I do my best to pay this forward. She even took my family to Disney World. And what surely she realizes it, maybe she doesn't. I try to tell her all the time, but what she may not realize is what she's done is shown me what my life could look like loving God. And so being invited to her home and seeing her loving relationship with her husband and seeing how happy she is, that's how she's glorified God for me. Seeing that it is possible that I can be a business owner and love God and be happy and buy the stuff that I want. Seeing all the art in her house. She has Disney art. Like, she loves Disney and she's proud of it. And she loves going to Disney World. I always thought that I had to change in order to be successful. And again, like, seeing somebody be their authentic self and still have the life that I want one day, that was the most impactful thing for me. Hopefully she sees this sometime. But and then the business that I look up to the most, man, I really look up to Jamie Kern with It Cosmetics. She was a news anchor. So she was in the newsroom and she had insecurities, and part of that was she had some rosacea, and she became an inventor while she was working in the newsroom, just like I did. I invented my first product when I was in the newsroom. I did not sell my product for $1.2 billion to L'Oreal like she did, but she did. And she doesn't need to work, yet she's so passionate about helping other women understand that they're worthy. And because she went through it, the struggles I'm going through, she went through, and she could have kept that to herself, got her money and got out. But no, she's writing books. She's spending her time on podcasts. She's spreading the word. So she's amazing. And then also, the founder of Spanx. I just think Sarah Blakely is amazing. So those two women, I've never got to meet them. I wish I would, but I look up to them so much. And then I love me some Joyce Meyer and T.D. Jake's daughter. I am really inspired by women who seemingly, because I don't know them behind closed doors, but seemingly live a life of happiness by stepping into their full authentic selves, and they share the journey of how hard it was. And then I know I'm just going on a tangent, but also Mel Robbins, like, amazing. Brene Brown, like, I do see two women who are also, they do have that gift of vulnerability and making people feel comfortable and seen without them having to take their guard down, because they're so good at taking their guard down. And I do feel like God gave me that gift. I haven't stepped fully into it yet. And I think I'm still in that messy journey of being empowered to do that, and he's still working on me. But I look up to all of those women, and I really hope that I can be like them one day. And I don't even mean the money or the success. That's what I was focused on before. I just mean happiness, like authentic happiness, like not self-sacrificing, doing it because it's what they want to do and it's their passion, and because they love people and people love them.
That's beautiful. And what I love, and I don't believe that was a tangent. I believe that that was a good word that you just shared, because what I hear from people that listen to the podcast is they love when people share, inspirational people that they need to be following and plugging into. So, God put that on your heart to share it. There's a reason, right? So I love it. I mean, keep going. I was thinking as you were talking, you mentioned all these great leaders and people. It'd be nice, like you mentioned, the group that you're in of other business leaders, and iron sharpens iron. Don't you wish there was like some group out there for all of us believers that we could lean into each other on some type of message board? I don't know what, maybe it just, that the idea hit my head. I was like, there really needs to be some community that brings us all together. And maybe there is. I just don't know about it yet. But anyway, that's another time. And we talk about adversity, and you've shared your testimony. I really feel like you've already kind of covered question number 7 about going through adversity. Unless there's anything you'd like to add to that, we'll kind of get into a little bit of a lighter topic. And we'll go into what's a fun fact. Like, you mentioned that you did roller derby. I saw some pictures you put out there, so people know about that if you follow Cheri Garcia. What's another fun fact about you, though, that people may not know?
Yeah, I did have to retire from derby because my knees were getting blown out. Car wreck 2 times a week. A fun fact: I love to paint, and I'd be decent at it if I would do it more often. So I'm hoping to do some more of that. But honestly, I'd love to skate. I really do. I love to get on a bicycle, anything with wheels. I love to ride hoverboards. When Mark Cuban was investing in, or I think he bought a hoverboard patent, I was testing all the hoverboards out. I loved it so much. Anything with wheels just gives me so much joy. And as odd as it sounds, I love going to trampoline parks because I'm a former gymnast, and since I'm older and my wrists and my knees can't take it, I get to still flip around and feel light as a feather. And then one of the things that my absolute hobby is dressing up. I actually love to get in costume for any reason, anytime. And that's part of the journey too. I realized, looking back before I got sober, I love to be in costume because I could be somebody I'm not and hide behind the mask, like quite literally. And it was always scary costumes and like just horrid stuff. Now I still like it's been a journey, because for a while I tried to just suppress that part of me, because like I told you, that's why Kai changed my life so much. I saw that she can love Disney World and be successful. Because I didn't trust myself anymore and I had got sober, I thought I had to just squash that side of me and become a professional. And that was my first bout of going through misery and trying to realize why I wasn't happy. And so I just realized that I could still dress up fun. I just didn't have to get drunk while doing it. And I don't have to be scary, miserable characters. And so now I'm always doing something pretty extravagant for Halloween. It takes me like 2 months to make my costumes, and it's a major hobby for me.
That's interesting. So I'm part of a company, Comcast, NBC Universal. And of course, Halloween Horror Nights and things like that is a really big deal. And we work with a lot of the kind of like a Disney equivalent of an Imagineer that we have on teams, and the costume designs. And we're also in the business of storytelling and bringing stories to life, like the Harry Potter world. I might have a few people that I'll connect you with offline that I think might bring you some joy, that could really give you some inspiration, that might have a little something to do with costumes.
Oh, that would just that'll make my year.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad to know that. So thank you for sharing. And also, you mentioned anything with wheels, skateboarding included by chance? Do you ever do any skateboarding, or is it mostly just roller skating?
I don't do skateboarding. I do snowboarding, but I'm too lazy to skateboard. I feel like I can't just get going and get going. I have to keep falling off and keep trying to get going. But I envy the people who can longboard and just I see people on the sidewalks just going and going and going. I'm like, man, how do you do that? I'm just not good enough to like it, but I'm sure I would get into it.
Gotcha. So a couple other people that are business partners of ours, a gentleman named Tony Hawk, you might have heard of him. I'm just thinking, and there's a few other X Games champions and snowboard champions. So anyway, it's just good. I'm keeping a little note here of I love to delight and surprise, especially, Cheri, you're putting out so much good in the world that I want to be a part of maybe bringing some good back to you and some joy, because I really do appreciate what you're doing out there.
Well, it's very, very timely, the journey I'm on. So I'm seeing this as a God week. So thank you. And I will accept the blessing instead of away and thinking I don't deserve it. So thank you. I am ready for it and I can't wait.
Perfect. Awesome. Let's go on. We're almost done here, Cheri. So how much time do you dedicate to unwinding? I think I know the answer. You mentioned you have a quiet time in the morning and quiet time at night. That's how I unwind, is I have to get in the Word. If I'm not in the Word, I'm a different person. That flesh can come right back out full spectrum on folks. And so I need the Word. But what do you like to do just to unwind?
So my unwinding, first I have to wind up, I guess. And so like this morning, I woke up at 4 a.m. I know that's really early. I don't usually get up that early, but I'm usually up between 4 and 5. And first things first, I'm in the Word. I like to journal. I do 2-way journaling. Dear God, beloved Cheri, I write what I feel the Lord is telling me. Working out, it happens before I start my day, for sure. It's either before I'm in the Word or after I'm in the Word, but it all happens between 5 and 8 a.m. And then at night, that's, again, part of that messy journey I'm in right now. I'm getting back to my roots. This past year, I've had more anxiety than I ever had, even in my first year of recovery, which it's a lot. I also not only do I struggle with anxiety, I've been diagnosed by generalized anxiety disorder, and I probably should be medicated, but I'm not. And so there's a lot of stuff I have to do to help with my anxiety levels. And one of the things that has been working for me, which is back to my roots, is running a bath at night. And I'll be honest with you, I hate it. Like, it's kind of nags me on my mind that I have to go run a bath and I have to spend an hour sitting in a bath. But it's so good for me because it forces me to be still. And that's my big problem in life, is I struggle on being still. Even when I'm in the Word in the morning, that's Cheri being productive. That's Cheri being task oriented. I'm in the Word. I'm journaling. I'm talking to God. I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. Now I'm going to the gym. Me running a bath and sitting my butt down in a bath for a whole hour almost. Sometimes I can't. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I run the bath and I get in the bath and I sit there for like 10 minutes, not even. And I'm like, well, I did it. Oh gosh. And then like, I just wasted water and a bath bomb just so I could step in and get back out. But it's just part of the journey. It's me learning that God wants me to be still. And some people have a hard time being productive and motivating themselves and having discipline. And I'm sure that there's many people that would look at my life and be like, how do you have all that energy? How are you so productive? How are you so motivated? But there's two sides to every coin. And so there's also like, I look at those people and I'm like, how do you have so much peace? How are you so content? How are you waking up and not going to the gym and not journaling and not writing till your knuckles bleed because you feel like that's what you have to do to earn happiness in life? So, there's two sides to every coin. And that's one thing that I'm learning, that, I just read in Corinthians yesterday, actually, that as the church body, there's the arm, there's the leg, there's the foot, there's the eye. And it was basically just saying, if somebody was just an eye and we only needed one thing, you're going to look like a monster, just a big giant eye. And that we need each other, and that the community needs the eye to see, needs the nose, needs the mouth. Who's to say an eye isn't as important as the mouth, but they do two separate things. And so one thing that I've had to work on as it relates to anxiety, especially, is realizing that where I'm weak, that's room for other people to pour into me, and God to use community to help me, and remind me that that's why we have partners in life. Yeah. And that's a whole nother thing, relationships and all that, but we do not have time for, but that's another journey.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Cheri, I can relate again to everything you're saying. I really do feel like if you and I had time to really sit and talk, you'd probably be shocked at how similar our stories are. And it's encouraging to me to know there's the big takeaway I said at the Giving Kitchen meeting last week was the biggest lie in the world that Satan wants to tell everybody is that you're alone, that you're the only one that struggles with this. There's something wrong with you. You're weird, or you're an outcast, or God doesn't love you, or you're something's, broken. When reality is we're all broken to different degrees and different levels. And there are different resources that work for people. In my journey, I've tried with anxiety and I still have panic attacks. And I believe that's probably something I'll live with the rest of my life. But instead of fearing them now, what I've found is they lose power when you no longer fear them. And when you just say, you know what, it's just here. It's going to be there. There's some reason it popped up. Not sure. Maybe I'm thinking about something. There's a great book. It's called Feeling Great. And there's another book by the same author called Feeling Good. Dr. David Burns is a real big thought leader in cognitive behavioral therapy. And he actually has a mobile app now you can download on your phone, and it uses AI, and it's like having a therapist in a box. And it's very intuitive, and it's called Feeling Great. And it's an app you download and you walk through it. But what it does is you tell what you're feeling, tell like, hey, I'm having these sensations of anxiety. I'm feeling this right now, or this stress, or whatever it is. And then it walks you through the different levels of self-defeating belief systems. And it gets you, as the Bible says, the truth sets you free. And then it has all these different methods of kind of coming to the truth and finding that relief. And really the relief comes in realizing, let me give you an example. If I was feeling stressed about a job situation, instead of focusing on, well, the job and the outcome and catastrophizing, right, which is a big thing, or fortune telling, these are all different things that humans do. And our brain lies because the amygdala, I'm sure you've heard of that, the brainstem back there, right, fight or flight, kind of the thermostat gets a little out of control. And so in walking through that journey, you get set free and you find relief. And the truth really does kind of come to light. And then instead of it going, oh, I'm stressed about this because of X, Y, Z, it really is turning it back on its head to say, Cheri, you're feeling that way because you're a caring person, because you want to provide, because you do love people, and that's a good thing. So it's okay to feel this way. Instead of looking at those feelings and the emotions and the weird sensations that anxiety can create in your body and all kinds of symptoms and stuff as your physiological response to stress hormones and things, it really does kind of make it lose its power when you're able to stand and face it and put the light of truth into it. And it's in this really cool intuitive, it's really scary how accurate the app is. And I don't know if you've ever used it or not, but I would highly encourage you to download it today. It's a subscription. It's very inexpensive, but it's called Feeling Great. And it's an app that's a cognitive behavioral therapy based app that I'm telling you, I use it all the time. And I would encourage anybody to check it out and try it. It's really amazing. And so lastly, tell me and tell the audience, if you would, please, what is your why? What is your why?
I would have normally had a really cute answer for you, maybe even just a week ago. But I am going through a season right now where I am rediscovering what that is. So I cannot tell you what my why is, but I can tell you my purpose. And my purpose is to continue to use my pain for good, Romans 8:28, and help others achieve whatever they're trying to achieve based on my own experiences. So whether that means doing a keynote speaking event, whether that means doing this podcast with you, whether that means going into prison, hiring a second chance person through my junk hauling company, or hiring somebody through our staffing agency and placing them from prison into our workforce pipeline into a company, all the things that I do day in and day out is my purpose is to glorify God. And that's actually all of our purpose. My personal why, I'm going to have to still work on discovering that because I've lost myself in the process of trying to live out my purpose.
Mm, yeah. And, that's something that, I've struggled with too, Cheri. I was just again shocked at what you're saying here. I really believe that your purpose, and like you said, is to glorify God. That is all of our purpose at the core. And the why, who's to say your why today has to stay the same as it was a year ago? It can constantly change as life is a journey of growth, and we're all doing this and it's sanctification at the end of the day. Devin Croom, there's so many people I wish I could just go, and I know you don't have time, probably, maybe you do, but there are people that I know in business that would be great people in your inner circle because they're successful people, like Devin Croom from Chick-fil-A. She's one of the leaders there. Amazing, her journey and her testimony and authenticity. And she reads a lot of John Maxwell books. I don't know if you've ever dug into John Maxwell, just love his stuff. But there are so many people that you would be surprised going through the same journey, they're going to answer the question kind of similar. But I think that's a sign that God's at work in your life, that God is doing something really special and he is making all things new and you're not the same. If you were, what I fear is status quo. What I fear is complacency. And so I know that God has a great plan and he's obviously working great in your life, Cheri. So, hey, thank you again who's that little visitor there you got with you? Who's that furry friend?
Love Story. I actually named her Love Story because it was such a God story of how I ended up getting her. We don't have time for it, but it was,
Yeah.
it was God. And so the name Love Story, it was the first way God, not the first way. It was the first way I heard it and it was revealed to me because I had the noise cut out. It was in early sobriety. It was the first example that God used to show me what unconditional love looks like.
That's amazing. Well, Cheri is cute. Well, Cheri Garcia, thank you again. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And I wish you all the blessings. And I'll be continuing to pray for your business and for you personally, that God would use you and continue to use you to impact people for the kingdom. And thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Quick Bite Podcast is proud to shine a spotlight on Giving Kitchen, an incredible nonprofit serving the food service community in times of crisis. From unexpected medical emergencies to natural disasters, Giving Kitchen steps in when life takes an unexpected turn. To learn how you can help support those who serve us every day, visit givingkitchen.org. And while you're at it, subscribe to the Quick Bite Podcast, where leadership meets heart, and join us in making a difference, one episode at a time. Quick Bite Podcast. Bite-sized conversations, big-time impact.